Hello, everyone, and welcome to Court of the Rings on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I am Loturo's Community Manager, Cordovan, and I'll be with you for the next hour, hanging out, doing some Q&A. We'll have the latest news. We'll maybe show something off here on the landscape difficulty. We'll just kind of have some odds and ends. It's just little old me today, after a couple of weeks of having a bunch of people on the show along with me. Today happens to be just little old me. So that's all that's going on there. But nonetheless, I did want to maybe briefly talk about the latest news, because we do have some stuff going on. The biggest news of the week, as it were, is that Shadowfax and Treebeard, our two new legendary servers, are set to arrive on June 30th. Stay tuned for a formal downtime message. I think the plan is to target noon Eastern time. So if you're really one of those people that wants to get there the instant of, perhaps have your noon Eastern time frame area kind of open on June 30th. But we'll make sure everyone's well aware of that as we get a little bit closer to it. So. Alright, this should work. And we've got a website also that we're going to be updating with a bunch of information on the servers. I may actually preview that a little bit today as well. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing alright. Yep. That's true. We have double bonus points back. I bet our marketing folks would be thrilled to have me mention that. So yeah, but that is something, some people tend to perhaps wait for these kind of things or whatever. Yeah, we got double bonus points going on right now. All right, let me pop on over to Twitch real quick. Treebeard is going to be slower XP and slower content updates, correct? And then in the reverse, Shadowfax is going to be faster than normal as well. Alright, so what I'm going to do here, if I can make this work, I'm actually going to show you a page that is not correct 100% yet, but it will be by the end of the day. I mean, the information on it's correct, but we're going to be updating some of the images on that because they've already changed. But let's see if I can kind of just raw put this one up on the screen by... add source screen capture, window capture. This is going to work. This is. Alright. So here's a work in progress page that we are currently planning to have go live come, say, June 30th. Let me move myself over to there just to kind of get through it. This will give you a general sense of what's going on, and this will be actually published along with the launch of the world and all that. We'll have so that all the dating is correct. Everything is going to be correct on it. The images, like I say, are already going to get changed. These are just placeholders, literally placeholders. And some of this is already changed. So, however, this part has not. You can speed through Middle-earth on the Shadowfax server and get 50% more XP, legendary item XP, and mount XP, along with 20% virtue XP. It unlocks more quickly than normal, about every 2 months. And then on the Treebeard server, where you can kind of slow things down, you will get only 40% of the XP you would normally receive. So it is negative 60% reduced XP. But if you want to think of it, you get basically 4/10 of what you would normally get. Unlocks less frequently than normal, about every 5 to 6 months. Yeah, that means Shadowfax is going to be cooking along real quick, and Treebeard not so much. Also, that's where we're debuting our new landscape difficulty system, which we'll have just a little bit more about in a little bit, but you'll be speaking with Barthaden near the Prancing Pony in West Bree to get started. This image kind of shows you what it's going to look like, but as I mentioned, it's actually not 100% accurate because we're getting rid of this whole difficulty 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bit, and so it's just going to instead go normal, hard, dangerous, deadly, deadly plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So some of the imagery is not really 100% correct, but whatever. You can set the landscape difficulty between normal and deadly plus 6. That'll increase the challenge of enemies you'll face on the landscape. You can change it again at any time by speaking with Berthadan. However, If you begin a higher level difficulty, so let's say you do hard or deadly, right? Prior to reaching level 11, so you must be level 10 or less. You must. And you must stick with a higher level difficulty throughout the experience. You will get rewarded for reaching levels 50 and 130. There's 4 titles available per class. 2 for reaching hard plus difficulty at level 50 and 130. 2 for reaching deadly plus difficulty at level 50 and 130. You must activate your desired difficulty prior to reaching level 11. Sorry if you didn't do it. You ain't gonna get it back. You must. This is on you. This is on you. You do this thing if you want this thing. And maintain that difficulty or higher until you earn your title. A deed can be found in-game to track your progress. The other thing is, when you are at deadly and above, there will be occasional Eye of Sauron effects. Once the Eye of Sauron is upon you, your progress will be hindered by several random effects that we're going to keep under wraps. That'll take place, however, for about a minute or so. Players will get an XP and Virtue XP boost for running on higher difficulties, starting at plus 10% XP up to plus 20% XP as you go up the deadly range, plus 1% XP up to 5% Virtue XP. And then Enor's still going to be there. But this is a work in progress page. It'll get actually published next week. But there's some work that has to be done, up to and including some screenshot work, because those screenshots were just placeholder and never got really updated to reflect what's going live here next week. But hey, do you know what is maybe reflected? Let's see if this works. Where did I go? There we are. I'm currently on Palantir. Just real briefly to show this off. This is on Palantir. I'm speaking with Berthadan. See Berthadan? There you go, Berthadan. Hey, how you doing there over in West Bree? Okay, difficulty. So dangerous, deadly, deadly plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whatever. Hard, normal. You can just do normal. For some reason my character is T-posing. That's why I've got a thing over it. But that's just because Palantir. Right? So, alright. Anyway, so you can do normal, you can do deadly, you can do whatever. That's all there is to it. That's all I wanted to show you, is that you'll have that window there, and there you go. I can't really stay on Palantir at the moment, but I did want to pop that up real quick. Alright, what's the next little bit of stuff that I can get on the screen in a way that may be useful to thee? Why don't we take a look at some release notes that are probably going to get published later this afternoon. We're working on a patch for Monday. This is the patch that we were working on, ideally, for this week, but it didn't happen, just due to issues. So that's why we ended up having a downtime, and what have you. What I'm going to do. Alright, hi everyone. For the next 10 minutes, you're just going to get to read these release notes. And I'll get them published later this afternoon, but I can't display them correctly unless I publish it, so... There we go, let's just publish it! We'll do it live! Alright, here we are. If I make any mistakes, it's your fault, not mine. I'm kidding, of course. Yeah. Alright, so here's the release notes that were set for June 24th, now set for Monday. Midsummer Festival extended through July 11th. The event now turns off at 3 a.m. Eastern on July 12th. The Collections Panel Pets tab will now accurately describe the source for the Sunny Summer Kite, Midsummer's Comet Kite, Summer Flower Kite, Soaring Bird Kite, Green Firefly, Large Gondorian Kite, and Wedding Celebration Pony. For Blood of Azog, we're doing some work on Fall of Khazad-dûm. Durin's Bane can now be hit from farther away with cone and area of effect attacks. We know that people have really been having to kind of get jammed up there a little bit too much, and so just for general fun and a bunch of other reasons, we're just giving you more room there. Debris piles can now be hit from farther away as well, with melee, cone, and area of effect attacks. Fixing an issue, preventing the lockdown skill from happening in some cases. Shadow Zone will now prevent and remove lockdown. Correcting an issue with the turn-in NPC for the instance quest Bonds of Oak and Iron. Corrected an NPC phasing issue with lesson hard learned. The Chest of the Threshold housing decoration will now animate correctly again, opening or closing on use. The Chest of the Anvil will now animate correctly. And the various reward chests in the Anvil of Winterstith raid and Amdan Demul, the Bloody Threshold, will once again correctly animate on use. There was a series of items that stopped animating. And that's what we're doing. So a little bit of work. Predominantly the Blood of Azog, Folly Khazad-dûm work is what is prompting the patch, although this also has some dating work related to the Midsummer Festival, and something else we'll get to in just a second. And then also there's a little bit of stuff related to Treebeard Shadowfax that isn't getting a public note because it's not public facing yet, because the worlds don't open up until most likely June 30th. So that's what we're going to be having most likely on Monday here. We're going to meet after the show here today and make sure everything's set and ready to go. But presuming that it is, that's what we'll be doing here on Monday. All right. One more bit of news I could talk about before I quick go over. We are shifting the start date for Tiers 4 and 5 of The Fall of Khazad-dûm. Tier 4 will now be available starting at noon Eastern on July 1st. So that is next week. Tier 5 will be available starting at noon Eastern on July 15th. Additionally, we have got, if I can... Did I already lose that email? Well, that's fine. Let me call it back up real quick. I've got another exact date on the deed as well. So, yes, the Fall of Khazad-dûm Leading the Charge deed will be available now until, well, let me say through August 25th, being formally shut off at 3 a.m. Eastern Time on August 26th. So we've got a little more time as well for that Leading the Charge deed as well. And that also is work that's being done here in the next, on Monday's patch. So, but we did announce it, however, today. Or yesterday, I believe. So there we go. Otherwise, what else can I mention? I think that's the biggest stuff. Midsummer Festival, is extended through July 11th, so we're giving more people time to do the Midsummer Festival. And yes, actually, this came up yesterday. I could mention that as well. That is... Well, let me actually log in so it's not just a black screen here. Okay. That Shadowfax and Treebeard will have the Midsummer Festival. That's why that came up, because there is just enough time for the most dedicated, and yes, that means you have to play every day, but it is possible if you wish to. It's going to be available there. It's going to give you just enough time to squeak in all the days you need. So, gonna have to work for it though. But you can do that if you wish. Alright, now that I'm actually logging in, let me take a second to go over into the various chats and do some of that. So, am I aware of a crashing issue in Minas Tirith? No, I am not aware of that. I'm not saying it's not happening, just that that has not risen to the level that I am personally aware of having a widespread crashing issue in Minas Tirith. But I will look into that right after the show. If you've got any info for me, make sure to give me a message. Let me know what you're talking about. Are we going to bring back the EU servers to EU? No. Sorry. Muckshifter on Twitch. We have no plans to do that. And I don't think... Yeah, there's no plans to do that. Alright. Are we adding more difficulty options than before? Before what? As people were easily doing the landscape on the highest difficulty. So if you're saying that some people were not having much of a landscape difficulty problem on that first Bull Roar preview. That could well have changed since then. My guess, I don't think people are going to cruise through Deadly Plus 6, but hey, I guess we'll see, right? I guess we'll see. Is Honor getting this upgrade? No, this is Shadowfax and Treebeard that are going to be starting here with the legendary difficulty system. I'm gonna get started here on the Blood of Ozog, on the stream character. You know, last couple of weeks we've been doing Q&As and just not really having much gameplay, which is fine, because honestly the point of the stream isn't really to show off my tremendous gameplay, as, you know.
I believe Prince Durin intends to send word to Nain at Sarkusulun. But it so happens that there are dwarves of the Khazad-dûm of Nar in his garrison. I suppose in times of war...
But we haven't had a lot of that lately, so...
You received my letter. I saw you speaking with Gloin. All is well.
I thought I'd just kind of bum around here a little bit. And actually, I don't know, would you rather me do this or Midsummer? I don't know, maybe people would rather have me do Midsummer here. But yeah, okay. Let me, well, I need to go. So let me just do that through. Let me go over to chat. Is my own volume down too low, or is the game volume too low? Let me check this quick.
Let us hear what they have to say.
Not too bad. Alright. Let me, I actually haven't gone through enough chat, so let me do that. Squirrel, in terms of when or if on the landscape difficulty to the regular game worlds, that is unknown at this point. We're going to see how things go on Shadowfax and Treebeard. We'll see how much people like it. We'll see whether, we'll see what happens with the landscape difficulty. But it's making its debut on Shadowfax and Treebeard, not Honor, not the live game worlds, and then from there we'll just have to see kind of what the future holds. No promises. We could well bring it to all the game worlds, but the intention is really to debut it here and just see how things go. So, all right. Why add an XP boost on a slow XP server? So that is a question. It's an option. You're only going to get that boost if you're playing, say, you know, higher deadly abilities, and presumably, if you want to do that, you'll still either be playing at your own pace, or you'll be using that to help get you forward or what have you. So again, we'll see. You know, we would appreciate your feedback. Kind of let us know how things go, and if it's not working, if we do need to make an adjustment, we certainly could. But that's the idea, is to really provide a little bit of a reward, also a little bit of an ability for those who wish to do the higher difficulty to not get so have such a kind of time to completion loss, as it were. And give you a little bit of a boost to kind of keep you at pace. That's the idea anyway. We'll see how it all goes in practice, but that's the idea. So, all right. Does the Monday patch fix the flickering flame deed problem? No, is my understanding. As of today, at least, that is my understanding, is that Monday's patch does not include the fix to flickering flame. However, We are aware of that problem, and it will be fixed in the near future. All right. I bet a lot of us would love to see a quest tracker size larger than 5 quests, but I don't know when or if that would ever happen. No. I have heard of no plans to reverse the motivating speech change from Update 30. Am I being given the option to work from home, or will the entire team have to return to the office soon? We are both, is the answer. I believe we're getting to the point in the pretty near future, because the state of Massachusetts, related to COVID and what have you, has started to, it's one of the leaders in the United States, at least, in terms of percentage of those vaccinated and what have you. So I do think we're actually going to be starting to head into the office again relatively soon. No actual ETA. You know how you'll know? You'll know because I'll start streaming. I'll probably start streaming from the office again. A little bit more dedicated bandwidth, and just a setup that I think is more conducive to being able to do like 1080p again, things like that. So you'll probably see that happen. I don't know when. Month and a half, something like that. Month and a half. I guess we'll kind of see what ends up happening. But the other thing is, a lot of us who will be continuing to work from home for a whole bunch of reasons. For the short term at least, and probably medium term just because we can. And it is better for the environment, it saves gas, a whole bunch of different things. Whatever. So I think what we'll end up doing is, for those who are in a position to be more flexible on location, we'll probably end up doing a bit of more hybrid stuff longer term here. But short term, we're mostly all just still working from home. We'll eventually kind of start crawling back into the office. Some people have more pressing needs for it than others. I honestly could largely do my job from home, but I will take advantage of the benefits of being in an office for some of this stuff as well. So the permanent firework items on maps being converted into skills the same way Midsummer fireworks are. Theoretically, that could potentially be work that would be done in the future. I haven't heard of any plans to do it. I would say pre-order on Gundabad is not exactly soon, but, it'll be coming here this year. Update on 4K graphics overhaul. Nothing to announce. Will the difficulty slider be on Bull Roar this weekend before it goes live? No. It's been on Bull Roar of late, and so we've got quite a bit of feedback on that already. But we'll be getting more, of course, when we go live with it. So there will not be PvMP on the new Legendary Worlds. I'll actually talk about lag here in a little bit, but let me kind of scroll through Facebook chat and see kind of what other questions we might have. How do you get on a Legendary World? Is it level related or something else? So you do need to be VIP or have a lifetime subscription, and then when they're live next week, you'll just go through the regular game launcher. So you'll log into your game account, and it'll be one of the server options that'll be available. Shadowfax, Treebeard. Shadowfax, the fast one, Treebeard, the slower one. A rough estimate of the expansion gap times for Treebeard. Well, like I said, it's going to be about every 5 to 6 months, and it'll be at the same release cadence that we saw on Honor for the most part, I think. I mean, it's just going to do that, right? So you can kind of do the timing yourself. if you're looking for later content in 2021, Treebeard is not going to be your server. But there you go. It is going to be a much slower server. Shadowfax is going to get there much, much faster. So. We would love to be able to expand beyond the character slot limit of 50. Maybe someday that'll happen. We would love to see 4K UI as well. It's a big project, one that we do know has to be done here at some point in the future, sooner rather than later, and it's becoming sooner all the time. But nonetheless, it is work that we know does need to be done. So.
It is a sound plan to my ear, but it was not on a mere whim that my brother sent 3 of the Khazad-dûm to aid the prince. Let us hear what they have to say.
All right. When are we getting Brawler? That'll be along with Gundabad, most likely. Maybe a little ahead of time, right? Does the XP from Shadowfax also affect crafting? Make sure I've got that addressed come next Wednesday at the very least. No, maybe not crafting XP. Because it's legendary item XP, mount XP, and general XP, so quest XP. I will follow up on that one. Good question. Alright, so what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I need to go speak to some people about things and help out on the battlefield. Any news from the music system department? Well, I guess the latest news really is just all those new instruments that are available in Midsummer, right? I think that is some fairly significant music news, particularly if you haven't seen it yet. So, hey. That's the thing.
I am as eager as Prince Durin to return to Gundabad, but it is...
I think the music might be a little on the loud side of my mix. Turn that down a smidge. All right.
To return to Gundabad, but it is...
I mean, they look different. There are some... I think there are some sounds, right? I'm not sure, Squirrel, what is 100% fixed? What are you talking about? Yeah, sorry, I don't know about what you're asking. Sorry, Squirrel. Is it 100% fixed with Gundabad, or is there still a chance for earlier or later release date? Oh, are you talking? Okay. Well, stay tuned, right? We'll let you know when and how you can play the Brawler relatively soon. So. It is linked to Gundabad. And we'll have more information in the coming months. But, come on. It'll be similar to probably what you would expect. I feel like I'm attacking ankles here. Yeah. So otherwise, how have folks found Midsummer so far? I know that we have quite a few new kind of cosmetic items and what have you, so seems like we had some good stuff for this year's Midsummer Festival, and I haven't really had an opportunity to do much of that because this past couple of weeks have been very busy. Plus, it's a very busy time in my life right now. My free time is very, very limited. You seem to have almost no game sounds? Okay. So in my headphones, it's coming through quite loud. So let me go and try to adjust that a little bit. See if that helps. I don't think that the instances will really be impacted much at all related to Shadowfax and Treebeard. Will the endgame difficulty on legendary servers be challenging? For instance, will you be able to solo or a 2-person CD Uru or 3-person The Rift at level 50? It's, I mean, you know, we don't have a set of kind of balance knobs for these two worlds that don't exist on the other game worlds, right? So, in some ways it'll be the same. However, for landscape difficulty, you will have options, you know, to both get deed-granted titles and, you know, presumably have a somewhat more difficult time on the landscape. You will be max cap level 50, so that's certainly going to, you know, have some impact on things. But if you are, you know, if you think that that doesn't sound like any kind of challenge for you, then okay, you know, perhaps not for you then. In terms of how challenging it'll be. Give it a shot. Let us know how it goes, right? So I guess we'll see.
Enough of battle to know the signs of fatigue, even if these dwarves are too proud to admit
it. Soldiers are in need of rest, indeed. Durin holds some of his army in reserve at Anak Corfu, and I would urge him to send as many soldiers as he can spare to relieve us. Even if only for a short time, it would be of great help to us for the coming battles. Indeed. Alright, well, my third one is... Alright. No. Oh, actually, Lagi is actually up above in the hall there, isn't he? That's cool. I can do that. I don't know that I've got the actual chops to make it as a voice actor, but oh my gosh, you know I'd be down for it. I mean, love that stuff. In my head, there's just like a constant cartoon playing. What can I say? That said, I've actually been asked this before. I don't know if I've ever answered in a stream. Do I give voices to forum posts that I read? Because you see the same people so much. So do you eventually create a voice, despite having no clue whatsoever how anyone sounds? The answer is no, as a matter of fact. I do not. For me, just about everything that I read on the forums is in my own voice. In my head. I don't know if that's normal for kind of community types or what, but that's how it works for me, at least. Is I don't try generally to assign personality to the posts that I read, despite seeing them time after time. Now, you develop a sense of personality, certainly, from these people, but I wouldn't know what they sound like, right? So I tend not to presume that. And actually, just about everything gets read neutrally in my own kind of voice, which I suppose isn't actually all that neutral, but you know what I mean in terms of how I do that. So with the launch of Honor, it was so overwhelming that Ithel was opened. If with the launch of Shadowfax Treebeard, will there be any gating to manage day one load? Now, we have clearly had to think about this question based on the work that happened with our experience with Honor. So when Honor opened up, you're right, there was slammed. The servers just got slammed, and it was the last time I can think of that we had actual server queues, right? And so there is a thought that that may well happen next Wednesday. And if so, what to do? We're going to make sure that as much of a technological footprint is available to facilitate people logging onto Shadowfax and Treebeard as possible. Clearly we want that because that's business reasons. For the biz. We want that. That said, last time around, we got convinced, kind of by forum posting, social media posting, and our own kind of fears, to open up Ithel. And when we opened up Ithel, anyone I think who was there at the time will know that Ithel absorbed that traffic wonderfully, but was only really needed for a couple of days, right? And then Ithel ended up kind of being really small, to the point that when we were looking at opening up server resources for future things that we are doing, one of the things that we chose to do was recently close Ithel. It will remain functional for some time because you're going to be able to transfer your characters off there through the end of the year. But we don't want to do that again. We don't think you want us to do that again either. So does that mean we're going to have to, there may be a couple of server queues and we may just live with it? Possibly. However, if, at the same time we are a business, and I guess if ultimately there's like so much sustained traffic that we want to open up another world, we have the ability to do that. And we're giving ourselves the ability to do that should we need to. So I guess we'll see, right? We'll see on that. But it is something we have certainly had to think about as we prepare to launch Shadowfax and Treebeard here. Yep. I have not heard about how user channels keep getting dropped. I know that we do have some chat-related issues that are potentially environment-related that we're looking at, but I don't yet have any real good info for you on that. Although he has led Gabaleka admirably through this war, I have many misgivings in regard to the prince's plan. Just look at the soldiers here in Zukul-Sulun. They are tired. We spent the lives of many dwarves to win the gates of Mount Gundabad, but for those who survived, it is now a matter of will. Not all of the dwarves in the Gabaleka can bear such a burden. Hardship is to be expected in war, but many of these soldiers do not know it as I do. In my youth, we spent 6 years of bitter war fighting our enemies. But even in the height of his fury, King Thrain knew the value of respite from battle. Indeed, if Prince Durin would hear my advice, it is that our soldiers need rest and the time to heal for the coming battles. There we go. However, there is no more rest for me until I take care of 8 more mobs. So let's head back out to the battlefield, sprained ankle or no, and take care of those 8 mobs here so that we can hopefully get on to the next section. It is true. In the other game, you can occasionally hear my voice a few times. It was always just sort of circumstances that ended up being a thing. Wish I knew what was causing that. Had that problem lately. It might be that mount. Gonna look into it. Will female stout axe shouts be fixed? I saw that being triaged essentially being ushered through the bug process recently. So I know that is on the agenda. I just don't know at this point when or where. Okay. That's the latest I got on that one. Let me, it's been a little bit since I looked at YouTube, so let me take a look at YouTube. Look at them, yes, look for the spies. Yes, that's actually kind of what I was going to do. Though the spies are fairly useful. Like, these people are kind of nice to low-level mobs. Fairly easy to take out. That will help fulfill this journey. Useful things, those spies. Unfortunately, that little butterfly doesn't count. It could be a spy, though. I mean, we don't know that a butterfly wasn't... Well, actually a butterfly probably, right? But it's certainly the idea of using insects as spies is not unheard of. So it's been Tolkien here, right? So there you are. How about you? Gundabad Hill Crusher. Any clues yet on the rewards for turning up the difficulty? So, yes, at the very start of the show, I did kind of go over some of that. It's deed-gated titles, essentially. So there's 2 of them. That'll be based on your class for hitting level 5 or 50 and level 130. You must sort of stick to your difficulty or higher from before level 11, so you must be level 10. If you cross over into 11, you're out of luck. If you haven't made your choice yet. Or if you change your choice. So don't change your choice. Do the thing. If you want to. And there'll be 2 deed-gated titles for it. So. When are Bjarnings going to get a boost in Redline? We do have further class work that is incoming. I know that that work is being done. You have been seeing some of the various... I've been seeing the work being done. I've been hearing about the work being done. I don't know when on a certain, like, Bjarning Redline or what have you, but that is something, there is work being done. So I would say stay tuned on patch notes here for the short term. And there's a pretty good chance that you'll I don't know about Bjarning Redline in particular, but we will be seeing some additional class work in the relatively near future. And then I expect that we'll see more class work probably once Gundabad is out the door. But I know that that work is kind of ongoing. Yeah, it is almost, I agree, Amanda over on Facebook is saying there's almost too many, kind of, in some ways. Like, there's a lot of festival cosmetics this year. There are! You got lots of stuff to work for if you want it, right? I have been overwhelmed by choice as well this year. It's pretty sweet. Do I have some news? This is Dieter from Facebook about the latest lag issues on different servers and the loading time that has been increased when trying to alternate between characters. We have been doing some work this week investigating those very questions, and while I don't have, you know, a turnkey solution for you today, it is something that we are taking a look at. I would say that we've been looking at recent evidence, specific, that we can pass along. So, for example, some of the more recent forum postings, YouTube videos, things like that, Twitch streams that have perhaps run into some issues. We've been working to elevate that stuff up the chain, as it were, to make sure that we have some kind of modern, hey, this was a couple hours ago, this was last night, you know, something like that, kind of evidence that we can just directly point to and help give us good stuff to follow through with until I'm not going to kill Moset. Oh my god. That seems like a bad idea. Alright. I'm actually, these three are probably gonna, yeah, I mean, maybe. Can I? I can probably take out all three. Can I? Can't I? That would be all three of them. That would be my 10. Alright, well let me get through chat and then I'll see about doing that, so. If you pick the hardest landscape difficulty and need help, will all fellowship members need to be at that landscape difficulty? That was actually addressed in one of the recent Q&As. I can't remember the exact answer from the systems team on that. It is for you, is my understanding. So you don't have to worry so much. Ooh, let me take advantage of them helping out. That's what I'll do. Okay. So it'll be how it spawns for you. The people around you will have to suffer the consequences to some extent, but it's up to them what level of difficulty they are on. You know how I said I could do this? I'm wrong, as it turns out. Help here. Alright. Focus. Alright. Hey, that could have been worse. Yeah! Got my steed. Get over to me. Yeah, there are tiers. Several in groups. There are tiers, not ID system. Yeah, there you go. So that's what it is. But it's still, you know, it's your difficulty that ultimately gets adjusted, not everyone else's. So. I didn't die here, Carrick Avaleron Gaming. I don't disagree that odds were not in my favor, but nonetheless, I did it. I didn't die. He yells on his way back to Zukul Sulun. Zarkul Sulun. We'll have more about Gundabad and its level cap as we get closer to it. Any news about when we can test Brawler? I would expect to see that within the next, oh, I don't know. Month or so, perhaps? Something like that? I did notice the quest available button, but that seemed like a bad idea, so I've been ignoring it. Okay, there we go. Out of the way. Oh, now what happened?
For once I am pleased such a decision is not left to me.
Okay. What will be the policy around Valar boosts in the new servers? Well, I'll have to check to see what boosts, if any, will be available on those new worlds. I can't imagine us... I don't really think it's likely that we'll just kind of have a boost available to start. It doesn't seem likely to me. But I'll follow up on that. Eventually, maybe it's going to be possible. I guess we'll see. But it was my expectation that at least to launch here, I wouldn't expect to see it. What is the scope of the legendary weapon rework? Does it include looking over class legacies? It is very substantive, and it's very system-rooted, right? So the work is kind of a bit of a ground-up rethink of what legendary items can be. And we'll have a lot more information about that as we get closer to it, which is not going to be for some time yet. That said, I do think that, you know, the idea of class legacies, their roles, their power values, how they work, is indeed going to be on the list of things that we'll be taking a look at. All right. I must admit, my friend, that is not the response I expected. But if Uncle Nain believes I should send word to my father that the Gabaleka may be better for it, I have no reason to doubt his judgment. Perhaps I was too swift to dismiss Gloin's concerns. I shall have to apologize to him. Seems I still have much to learn. Also, while I'm at it, yo, can I pick some stuff up? Yes, yes I can. I mean, to some extent, if someone really wanted to do that to get the title, I don't know how much it really matters. But yeah, I wouldn't expect that to be, you know, the Valars to be available day one on the new worlds. Balance the Etten Moors. Yes. So hopefully we'll have more opportunity to focus on PvMP here in the coming months. I mean, clearly our focus short term is on Gundabad and, well, it was Midsummer, Shadowfax and Treebeard. Update 30, you know, just got released not that long ago. And so our priorities have not really allowed us to set aside a lot of time for PvMP. But I would expect to see us do that work. We do have plans to have, as a matter of fact, a specific employee shift over and do some direct work on PvMP here, hopefully later this year. And we'll, if we are in a position where we can sort of let people know more about it, like, hey, this is actually happening right now, and here's a chance to talk to the person, whatever. Maybe we can do that. I mean, that's certainly the plan. And then we'll just kind of have to see, you know, exactly when that time comes, because some of the time ability of that person to dedicate the development work to it is dependent on other work that is currently in process, right? So it would be foolish to try to guarantee some kind of delivery date for it at this point. But that is absolutely what we are currently planning to do. So, you know, hopefully we'll have some cool stuff for you here. not too long from now. There we go. Uh-oh. I'm one short. This is a problem. Which one am I missing? There we go. Yay. We haven't committed to an I Alive revamp schedule. Well, I mean, we're committed to doing the work. The work is currently underway. So, yeah. But I don't know that I want to today promise that, you know, X amount of that work will appear in update X and Y amount of the work will appear in update Y. We're not at that point yet. But that work is actively underway right now. So, yeah. I guess we are definitely committing to doing that work. We are currently doing that work, so. Yeah. Michael, how big is our library for graphical assets, and can our designers use every asset for every region, technically speaking? Must be a lot after so many years. The answer is, I bet there isn't much of a technical restriction as to which assets can go where, but there are all sorts of restrictions about which assets can go where. And we do have a very big library, and we're adding to it all the time. You know, one of the both wonderful things about building such a large world as Middle-earth in game, and also one of the biggest challenges, is that there's a need for a lot of different art, because you want to get everything right, and you want to be as close to everything right as you can all the time. And so that means typically the need for a lot of assets. And so it's true that we have a lot. And that isn't going to be stopping anytime soon. But I don't think technically there's usually much reason why you couldn't put one in another space, other than it's just not what we do. Is Brawler going to be a tank? I would say the Brawler will have the ability to do some strong tanking. But I don't know that tank is necessarily its main kind of focus. Any news on gifting in the Lotra market? Nothing to say today, but we do want to do that work. Sorry. Who makes the decisions on what's put on sale? That would be our e-commerce team. There are people whose job it is to deal with kind of sales and promotions, things like that, and they're the ones who sort of set the calendar with input from the rest of the team. Well, I hear what you're saying. So, Brawler is no group you run with will ever be allowed to have a Brawler in it. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So, just consider hanging off on that until you actually get a chance to take a look at it, huh? You might change your mind, and if you don't change your mind, well, that's certainly an option for you as well. But give it a shot. I think you know, we are taking it seriously, and things are coming together pretty well with that. So perhaps see if it's going to fit into your groups and what have you as we get into the preview cycle for it before just writing it off right now. Would global ray tracing be possible? Technically, it would be a pretty big task. Not impossible, but unlikely. Quick note, there is not going to be a Tolkien professor here this afternoon. He's at Mythmoot. Also, Druid's Fire is doing a Saturday show this week. We do have some cool community stuff happening as well, so keep an eye on the Lotro Beacon. That'll be coming out later today. I did want to give a shout out to B4. We have a brand new Lotro streamer who's focused on Lotro plugins. So, if you're ignorant about Lotro plugins but do not wish to be, or if you know quite a bit about plugins and want to learn about the latest and how to do different things, do keep an eye on twitch.tv/LotroStream for that. And welcome B4 to the stream. So there you go. All right. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks for being here. I will see you next week with more. And pretty soon we're going to probably have several on for another Q&A. I think this time around we'll endeavor to get it out at least a few days ahead, word out at least a few days ahead of time on the forums and do some forum solicitation of questions. I know there's also an interest in having us provide the questions and you provide the answers. That's something that Sev has been wanting to do for a while. Kind of a directed back and forth, or directed communique where we're asking some questions and getting some answers from you. That's kind of an interesting concept that we might shoot for here in the relatively near future. So we do have that stuff going on, as well as Midsummer and Update 30 and a whole lot more. So thank you for being here. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hope you stay safe, healthy, and happy. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.